Welcome back to Gabe's FilmCast on Cronus Network. How it works is I check out a flick, give you my candid thoughts right outside the movie theater, drive home, and put together a deeper review, putting it all into context. Today, Black Widow. Hey everyone, I just saw Black Widow, and I've got to tell you that it is a solid action spy flick. This film has good acting, great dynamics between the characters. These are characters you can actually get invested in for the duration of the film. The action sequences are well shot, well choreographed. That's always appreciated. Marvel does that particularly well. The story starts off being gripping. You do get some context to some stuff that's been mentioned in the MCU before, and that's always great for people who are paying attention to those little references. Some things get paid off in this film, so that I really appreciated. But the story does start to fall apart towards the third act because the film struggles. While it has great pacing to begin with, towards the end, it kind of stutters and finds it hard to resolve all its issues in a neat package. So you get a lot of tropes that are overused, which can come off as plot convenience or, at worst case, lazy writing. So there is that. But overall, the film is a great watch. And if you're an MCU fan, you definitely shouldn't skip this one. I'm going to go home and cut a deeper review. Let's get into the particulars of this film. Director Kate Shortland delivers a flick with great action spy elements and a good deal of heart. It is, however, hard to determine what contributed to the film's lesser elements, her direction or the script. Ultimately, the buck does stop at the director, provided, of course, that they are on the same page as their producers. Kevin Feige is known to vet his directors carefully. Scarlett Johansson championed Shortland, so it's safe to assume that this flick was a holistic effort. When all is said and done, Shortland's work here certifies that she can deliver a good MCU flick. If she does more work in the MCU, that will likely be a good thing. Let's start with the villains. There is more than one, but the central ass kicker would be Taskmaster. The flick lays into the Master Overlord villain thing with Dreykov. His appearance looms heavy in the film, but you aren't going to get to spend much time with him. Unfortunately, you aren't getting much out of Taskmaster either. What you do get is fantastic action, and the story elements pertaining to Taskmaster were not fully explored, either because of time or as an oversight. Marvel tends to lean into developing its heroes more than its villains. Taskmaster is no exception, though anytime Taskmaster and Black Widow are engaged in combat, it's entertaining as all hell. Now let's explore our protagonists. Natasha's character is consistent with her prior appearances in the MCU. That's a good thing, considering she has become a fan favorite. Her mysterious past and ability to perform on an Avengers level despite having no superpowers are some of the reasons for this. What we do know of her past implies lots of blood and tragedy. This film delivers on that. We get to know her roots, but she isn't sanitized in order to make her more heroic. While she does grow into her hero role, her motivations are often more personal and explored through relationships. This film continues that. It pays off certain threads that have been scattered throughout the MCU. Budapest, the Red Room, and even things Loki made mention of back in the original Avengers flick. Some of these things are paid off more satisfyingly than others, but Scarlett continues to embody this character beautifully. The film does address Natasha and Barton's relationship and continues to enforce the bond of friendship, loyalty, and sacrifice that exists between the two. I really wanted a flashback sequence. It seemed appropriate, but given the pacing of the film, it was likely deemed non-essential. Yelena Belova's introduction into the MCU works. She plays well off of Natasha, and you buy into their relationship. You feel the sisterly inclination struggling just under their training and necessary guard. She has a part to play in the MCU. Florence Pugh delivers a great performance. And David Harbour joins the MCU as Red Guardian, basically the Soviet Captain America. While it's clear the character is being written into the MCU after the fact, post the events of Captain America, the film addresses this by suggesting his role was more covert. Naturally, you would expect a rivalry, but the timelines don't quite match up. Red Guardian can't help but paint a different picture of their relationship, though. The character is an anti-hero, But like many other anti-heroes, he manages to be likable even though you should technically hate him. This has to do with the way the character is written and the excellent delivery of Harbor. Hopefully we get more of Red Guardian. Rachel Weisz brings Iron Maiden to life. Like Red Guardian, she manages to be despicable and oddly likable. She blurs the lines between victim and villain, but remains strong and complex throughout the film. More of her in the MCU? It wouldn't be a bad thing. The heart of the film is the relationship between these characters. The dynamics are interesting, and the chemistry between all the actors work. This group, forming a sort of family in the midst of such tragic and often morally questionable lives, it draws you in. They are monsters, but also people who you can relate to and feel for. Monsters who didn't need to be monsters by sheer nature. People searching for redemption while not actually apologizing for who they are. They are beings of action and strong passions, just underneath their cold, hard super spy armor. I hate rating flicks because you can't ever really do it justice across the board. Film is too dynamic and diverse a medium, so I try to rate within genre. Even then it gets a little messy. If pressed and rating within genre, I'd give it a 7. If 5 is about average, this film is good and a solid recommend. It's good MCU, but it's not top shelf MCU or top shelf comic book fare. 7 is more than respectable, and if you are a fan of the character, you're gonna love this flick. And that about does it. Thank you for watching. Please hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe. Let's build a film and geekery community together. You may want to check out the new channel, Cronus Narrative Network, for in-depth character studies and a general celebrating of narrative entertainment.
Cronus Network.